Hey everybody, welcome to KFP Reactions. This is Dawn, and that smiling face you see there is Justin doing a video chat here a couple days after Christmas, because I finally saw Bumblebee, and no one else did but the two of us. And now we're going to talk about it. And we decided to do, since we're in a giving mood, we decided to give you the gift of our faces for this review of the Bumblebee movie.
How many people are going to return this gift?
A lot of people. Especially Ken and Brock. Well, wait, they don't watch it anyway. In honor of this review, because I just saw it today, I have my Transformer shirt on, my Autobot symbol. Justin has a very festive Christmas sweatshirt on, whatever the hell that is, Slipgator. And we're ready to review Bumblebee and react to it and talk about it. Do we just want to start with some quick non-spoiler type reviews of it? See what you think about it?
Yeah, I definitely think we should use our standard format. Start with non-spoiler and go from there.
I was generally surprised that you told me you didn't like this movie, that it didn't live up to your expectations. So I'll start. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It's different than your normal Transformer movie. It's not what you expect to see, like giant, huge battles and all this stuff that's going on in a Michael Bay Transformer movie. This felt very like Iron Giant to me, or like it was like a girl and her robot. It was very cute. It was very heartwarming. I thought it was very well done. I think this really makes Bumblebee like a extremely lovable character. Like he's just like a household name now. Like with the way he's the star of the Transformer universe. He's even like surpassing Prime. He's so well done. Like I really like the character. I really like the way they did him in this movie. There are so many. The being set in the 80s, I loved all the 80s references throughout of it. Yeah. The music I thought was fantastic throughout all of it. Like perfect songs for perfect timing. They definitely, I wanted more of the G1 sequences, but wow, what I got was unbelievable. Was some of the best Transformer looks I've ever seen in any kind of... I mean, there were so many Easter egg candy through that where I was like naming them, which we'll get into the spoiler, where I was calling them out loud in the theater. And I think it sets up perfectly for, if it does well enough, which we'll get to that, for a nice bright future for these movies going forward if people will give it a chance. But so I really enjoyed it. I didn't really see too much wrong with it other than, is Sam Witwicky better than the girl that was in this? Yeah, he was a more likable character. She was kind of like plain, but I thought John Cena was terrible. I thought his acting was horrible. It was so unbelievably cheesy. He's horrendous in this movie. I love John Cena. I'm a big fan. I know he'll never see this, but my man was terrible in this movie. Terrible.
He needs to stay in the squared circle and stay off of the big screen.
Yeah. Well, he can come around because The Rock was horrible in his first couple of movies, too. He was bad at first, too. He's pretty cheesy. But we will see.
He needs to get some serious acting lessons, and he needs to work on it.
Yeah.
And I will give him a couple more roles, because it wasn't long before The Rock really proved that he could be an actor.
Right.
And so I'll give Cena a couple more, big roles. He's had some stupid little things.
Yeah.
But this was kind of his first big role, and for right now, what I've seen of him is he can't play anything other than John Cena.
Yeah, he was just John Cena, the military guy, and it was bad.
And anytime he tries to do anything other than that John Cena, he's so stiff and so wooden.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing. But anyway, so do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah. What was your thoughts?
So my problem with the movie is your favorite part of the movie, and the fact that there wasn't more of the G1 stuff on Cybertron. That was maybe 5 minutes of the whole runtime of the movie, and that was absolutely the best part of the movie.
But so my problem with you saying that is we didn't even know we were getting that. Like this is Bumblebee's movie. This is originally, before we even saw them in the second trailer. This is Bumblebee's movie. We thought it was just going to be Bumblebee fighting a jet. We had no idea about anything else. That was a nice little tease to show you, hey, we could do this right if you give us a chance. But right now we're making a Christmas movie about a girl and a robot. If you like it, that may be down the road for you. They're not, because that budget to do them the whole movie would blown that budget up. I mean, this movie costs $130 million to make. It's not...
It's really cheap for one of these.
It had a hard time at the beginning this weekend going up against Aquaman and everything else. So it didn't do great numbers, but it could do well after here. So they couldn't have gone all that G1 and gave you a $250 million movie because they wouldn't make it. So that,
I know. I just like I said, I was just a little disappointed. So stepping back because I don't want to get into spoiler territory yet. I actually liked her character better than Sam Witwicky.
Okay.
I think she's a better actor than he is, and I genuinely I felt the connection between her and Bumblebee. I got it.
Yeah.
Her family was ridiculously annoying. And
yeah, well, they were so over the top cheesy. It was the stepdad was so cheesy. It was just it was they were trying to recreate like the Witwickies with their silliness. And,
yeah, I think so.
You know.
But Bumblebee looked great. The G1 stuff absolutely looked fantastic.
Well, let's just spoil now. Let's start talking some spoilers now. So
my big issue. You saw the entire G1 scene in the second trailer.
But that's not true because some of the best parts of that you didn't see. That shot of all those Autobots was not in any trailer, and that shot of those Autobots was effing great. I mean, when they scrolled that camera around and RC looked just like RC in the animated movie, and then there was Brawn, and then there was Wheeljack, and, I'm like, whoa, like, they looked great. And I know they killed him off, but Cliffjumper looked amazing. I'm like, that looks just like Cliffjumper out of the cartoon. I mean, I didn't know Cliffjumper was going to be in it. And then, I mean, Ravage, we got a little bit more in his scene, but I mean, the up closes of Shockwave and Soundwave, and and
it was fantastic.
I think that they had to show you that because people had such a negative view of this movie. People were, this movie's going to be stupid. And it wasn't, especially someone like Ken. Ken wasn't excited for this movie until he saw Soundwave. And then he was like, oh shit, that's Soundwave in that trailer. So they had to, blow their wad in that trailer. So
I guarantee Ken's going to go see it and come out and be like, what the...
That's it. That's all we get. I mean, Optimus Prime at the end, rolling out in that big old truck, just like from the 80s. Then walking through the woods with B. I mean, that looked just so good,
It was good. We've already talked a little bit. John Cena was just...
John Cena was terrible. All the humans were terrible except for the girl and her boyfriend or whatever.
I was going to say, I liked him as well.
They were terrible.
His awkwardness, it didn't feel out of place. Like, sometimes they get a kid that just... who is the star quarterback at his high school, and Mr. Popular, and they try and make him play a nerd, and it comes off as somebody trying to play a nerd.
Yeah.
This kid, it felt genuine. It felt like he would be that awkward.
I thought they were gonna go with she was in love with the jock guy, and that he was gonna, because in the first Transformers, the hot girl becomes the friends with the nerd. I was glad they kept it in the nerd community. They didn't get. They had the slutty, angry high school girl who was a total bitch.
Those mean girls were horrible.
And Bumblebee flattens her car. That was a hilarious scene. That was a great scene.
It was.
His transformation was so clean. It was so good. I mean, when he was on the beach and he kept going back and forth, it was like, wow, look at all those parts moving so quickly in and out and forming him. They got their shit together with transformations.
Yeah, they did really good work on the CGI. For the transformations in this. It was done really, really well.
Yeah. The other thing that got done really, really well is robot fights. Because you remember, some of the first movies, you couldn't tell who was who. When Ironhide was, fighting one of the tanks, there's just metal rolling around. It was who's who? This movie, when Bumblebee's fighting that blue sports car helicopter guy, it looked like a real... It looked like an MMA fight going on. They were doing knees and kicks and sweeping the leg, and it was really done well that you could really tell, hey, this is an actual fight. This looks good instead of just like metal flying around.
Yeah, they definitely upped their game for this one. And I'm wondering if that has to do with not having Michael Bay involved and having him standing over an animator's shoulder or an editor's shoulder and being like, we need more explosions. We need more carnage. We need, just make it explode.
One of the things that I remember he said way back in 2007 was he wanted them to look alien. He wanted like Starscream and Megatron to look like they were these alien monsters, not be blocky or they look like Earth human robots. That was a Michael Bay thing. That was him. So he that's why he made them all kind of craggly looking and bug-like almost, because they were aliens to him. Where I think this director, Travis Scott, got past that and were like, Optimus can look blocky because he's a truck.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to look all these moving parts and weird looking. He can look normal. And it works.
They updated it enough to make the technology.
They sleeked him out and cleaned him up.
Technology.
I mean, Optimus looked freaking amazing. I mean, on Cybertron, he looked amazing. He was kicking ass, and then on Earth, just talking to him, he looked great. I mean, I that's why when you were like, "Oh, I just didn't like this movie." As soon as I saw Prime, I'm like, "How do you not like this movie? Like this scene is worth the price of admission alone." That opening scene.
Stop it! You're softening my view of this movie.
I know. When I saw that opening scene, I was like, "Oh my God, RC! Oh my God, Braun! Oh my God, this Wheeljack with the light up mouth!" I was like, "This is great!" Like what to see all these guys. Like I counted them at the end when they were landing, and I'm like, "There's like 6 more Autobots landing." I think
it was 6 or 7. Yeah.
I'm like, well, I want to see this so bad now. Like, if I
so spoiling the end. So the end of the movie, he turns into the Camaro from the 2007 version,
which at first leads you to believe like, oh, this is a direct sequel,
and that or
prequel.
But then you're right. Then it shows the Transformers coming to Earth right then, which is 20 years before they actually show up.
Yeah.
According to the 2007, so they
very confusing.
They not only like said, yeah, this is before the other ones, but now, oh wait, no, we're going to retcon the beginning of that other movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely different because Prime wasn't on Earth at all in the 2007 movie. Bumblebee was for years. He
fought in World War II.
He fought in World War II, so yeah, he was on Earth for a long time. Him and Hot Rod were in World War II as tanks together. So yeah, their continuum is all gone. That way, I hope this is a retcon retelling that they're on Earth in the 80s. I wouldn't even mind if the next movie takes place still in the 80s or the 90s. I would be completely fine with that.
Well, so there's a couple rumors going around that the next big Transformers movie is actually going to be on Cybertron.
Okay.
And that, if they can do that and give us, the 5 minutes that they gave us in Bumblebee for a whole hour and 50-minute movie.
See, I don't know how I feel about them in Cybertron for a whole movie. Because part of the allure of Transformers to me always was I liked them in Earth vehicles. That's what made them cool, was that one of them turned into a Lamborghini. One of them turned into a thing. When they all turned into space vehicles, when they did like futuristic Transformers, like when Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus and them, they all turned into these like future space vehicles. It just, I never connected with those characters as much because it was like, all right, well, Springer's a space helicopter and a space car. Like it never was the same as like, wow, Cliff Jumper's a little red car, and and Sideswipe and Sky and Sunstreaker are twin brother Lamborghinis. Like it just made it so much cooler them being on Earth, interacting with the humans, disguising, the whole robots in disguise thing. Cybertron stuff, it'll almost feel like too much. It'll almost look at one point animated, like it's just a completely animated movie, and it's not like it's just an advanced cartoon that we're looking at. You know what I mean? Because some of those scenes when they panned out and showed you, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks really like cartoony right there. Like, well, no shit, because the whole thing is animated. I like when they're mixed in. I don't know. I don't want it to be just all told through human eyes. I want a ton of robots, but I want it told through their eyes on Earth. Because that's what the original Transformer was. It was them on Earth. Them dealing with, scavenging, trying to get back to their home planet. That's what I would like to see. Because Prime's a truck, not some big space convoy looking thing. I want a semi. That's what I want. I want a flat front red semi, and that's what will look cool to me. So the first villain he fights, I guess they're calling him Blitzwing.
Yeah.
Which he didn't look as much like Starscream once he transformed. He was more Harrier jet-like, and his role was okay. Because Starscream I did spot on Cybertron.
Oh, you did?
He was standing right next to Soundwave and Shockwave at one point.
Okay, that was Starscream.
Yeah,
then?
that was him. That was his colors. That was his face.
Okay.
So yeah, the Blitzwing scene in the beginning, he kills him. I really liked the two cars, the two triple changers. I thought they were really good.
I thought they were cool. The only issue that, again, during the movie, you had to go to the internet after the movie. They never said their names.
Yeah, they never say their names. That's typical.
And from what I've read, they were two Transformers that didn't exist until this movie.
Yeah, they were two throwaway characters.
Shatter and I can't. The woman Angela Bassett, the character that Angela Bassett voiced was Shatter, and I can't remember. She was the red one, and I can't remember who the blue one was now.
Which I'm fine that they were throwaways because. I don't want Bumblebee to kill. I don't want him to kill two good names. I was mad enough they had to kill off Blitzwing, but they never really said his name, so I guess you could kind of just buffer over that if you wanted to in the future. But I thought they could use Dirge, Ramjet, Thrust, any of these lame ones, but I'm like, no, save them, because we could do a lot more down the road. But they were cool. I thought Angela Bassett was good at that voice. She was very evil, very sinister. They were good. All the robot characters to me were better than the human character.
Oh yeah, way better. I thought it was. I liked how, they kept the. Was it PG-13 or was it only PG?
I think it was 13.
Was it? I liked how they did when he killed humans, they just exploded into clear goo.
Yeah. He liquidized them, vaporized them.
It was very.
Which I was wondering how they were going to do that, because he was going to kill that guy point blank. And I was like, oh, this is going to get ugly. And then he just goos him.
I liked the kind of the tease that they're the ones that created the internet by connecting all the computers and giving them the idea. Yeah. Did you catch the Simmons Sector 7 reference?
I didn't catch a Simmons. I obviously caught that they were Sector 7.
The kid that goes in and is he had kind of the curly black hair. That was Simmons from the 2007 movies.
Okay. That might have been on Alex's bathroom break. That maybe I missed that scene.
Yeah, he was Agent Simmons. So I mean that is, that's another direct tie.
Direct tie-in, yeah. I don't know.
To the later movies.
It's very confusing. I think they did all this just that way they could go either way they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where if it's a total flop, they can just be like, yeah, we were just
telling. This
is the prequel of Bumblebee, what he did. That's all. Or if it ends up doing well enough that people get a little more buzz about it, that they can say, no, different story. They're all on Earth, different story. They're on Earth. We're going to tell the story of these 9 Autobots on Earth and what they go through,
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to do the X-Men stuff and make them go through the 90s next and all that. I'd be totally fine with a movie told in the 80s. It wouldn't bother me one bit.
I love the movies. I like how they got a Rickroll in there real quick. Some of the other, quick reference, some of the other music references that they put in there were great.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I almost prefer it in the 80s because it makes it so much more simpler that here's these robots with all this technology and you don't have cell phones, you don't have the internet, you don't have all the social media that kind of makes it these everyone would know about them. You know what I mean? This incident that happened here, that could be a contained incident because They could cover it up. It's not on the news. No one has a cell phone. No one recorded them. Where, all these other things, everyone's recording. And it's a little hard to stay robots in disguise when there's cameras everywhere and everyone has a cell phone. So it's a little different. It makes it more simplified, I think, taking place in the past. But, I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I would say, compared to the other movies, I liked it definitely better than any of the Mark Wahlberg movies, for sure. Age of Extinction, Last Night, for sure, better.
Oh, 100%.
I liked it better probably than Dark of the Moon, the third one. Which was a little all over the place for me, that movie, but, still was good. I probably liked the original Transformers better because it was more Prime and the gang. And I'm still a big partial to Revenge of the Fallen. I like that movie. I just enjoy the beginning of it. I enjoy the badassery of Prime throughout that whole movie in the end. But this one's up there for me as far as...
I was trying to think about it in comparison to the originals, and I would put the original in 2007. I would put that as my favorite of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, and then Revenge of the Fallen, and then the rest of them.
Okay. Kind
of all going from there. So this would be my second favorite of the group so far.
Yeah, and you told me a couple days ago you didn't like it.
I was disappointed. It's not, you softened me a little bit here.
You needed to see this movie with me so I could explain things and soften you up.
Not so you could explain it, but just so I could have had like the group camaraderie and feelings. But I still there was more that I wanted, but I have softened my view a little bit.
Okay.
And I think, depending on where
Did you hear that, everybody? I softened Justin up. He was real hard before we started this. Now he's softened up a little bit. That's the effect I have on Med.
Depending on how they go forward, my thoughts of this movie, if they follow this up with with a fantastic movie, it might make me think better of this one too. Like I said, this wasn't a bad movie. I was just disappointed by some things. I wanted to see more. Yeah,
I would love to see the next one. Like I said, keep it going in the time frame it is, because I want Soundwave to turn into a tape deck. And I want his guys to be tapes.
Because if you move this up even into the 90s.
Yeah, Soundwave becomes obsolete. It doesn't make sense anymore. And then he looks weird, and you have to turn him into an iPod and all this other ridiculous shit. I want Soundwave as a goddamn tape deck with tapes.
Can you imagine him as a little freaking iPod?
Yeah, I don't want him as an iPod and the tapes as like memory cards, or he's a Samsung Galaxy and he has a bunch of little memory cards that come out of him. No, I want a tape deck and I want tapes. I want eject and all that shit. Yeah. So we'll see where they go from here. Are you ready to rate this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to go first?
All right, I'll go first. Okay. I have come up for my original rating, but I'm going to give this a 3.
3?
Yeah, I was originally 2.5. I'm gonna go up to a 3 on this.
2.5. That's, I think, what your was for last night. I think you're well, you were a 2.5.
Really? Was it that bad?
Yeah. All right, you ready for mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna give this movie, because I was fully entertained throughout this movie, I'm going to give it a 4.25.
Wow. So you had a good time.
I had a really good time. And you know what? I wasn't pissed about anything through it. I wasn't... It's a good story. It was a good Christmas movie type era. It's where you're there with your family watching it. The kids enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed it. I got my nerd stuff out of it that I liked. I got my ooh and ah moments. I really love Bumblebee as a character alone. I think it's such a well-done character. He's got that innocence of a child that the other kids relate to, but then they put that badass in there and he can kick some ass too, and he's just a fun character.
We didn't talk about. I mean, there was a reason he had that innocent puppy dog.
Because he got his mind wiped. Yeah.
Yeah, his memory was wiped, and he really didn't even. I mean, he knew who he was, but that was really all he knew.
I mean, even after he got his memories back, he was still... Let me just say one thing real quick. The one part that I really hate about this movie was the goddamn diving. I hated that, she was so afraid to dive, and then I know there's gonna be a scene where she has to dive, and then she has to dive at the end. I'm like, you didn't need to dive down there. You ain't drowning. You can breathe underwater. But, like, you know, it's that part with the diving, you know. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
All
All right? So there we go.
Sounds good.
And I know I'm partial because, you know, I'm one of these guys. I'm an Autobot at heart, so I know I'm partial, but that's where we're at. All right, well, like, share, subscribe, invite, whatever the hell, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Later.